Some stories begin with a whisper, but this one begins with a storm. A storm inside a woman's heart. Because on the night Olivia Hart expected to celebrate her engagement, she instead watched her ex-fiancé walk into a crowded Montana lodge with another woman on his arm, laughing like the last 4 years with her had meant nothing. She stood there frozen, her confidence cracking, her pride slipping, and her heart begging for a place to hide. And that was when she saw him. The quiet cowboy in the corner booth, dust on his boots, kindness in his eyes, and absolutely no idea that his life was about to change too. Before the fear in her chest could swallow her whole, she walked straight up to the cowboy and whispered the wildest request of her life, "Please, pretend to love me. Just for tonight." And before she could explain, the cowboy looked at her like he'd been waiting to rescue someone all his life. He tipped his hat, smiled softly, and said, "Darlin', I can do that." Before we start this emotional journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps Kindness Tales bring more heartfelt stories your way. The cowboy's name was Mason Brooks. 33 years old, quiet as early morning light, and known around town as the man who'd give you his last dollar without bragging about it. Olivia didn't know any of that yet. All she knew was that when Mason stood up and wrapped a gentle arm around her shoulders, her whole world steadied. For the first time that night, she could breathe. Her ex-fiancé, Jordan, spotted her immediately. His eyebrows shot up, surprise flickering across his face. "Liv? Didn't expect to see you here." Olivia forced a smile, leaning a little closer to Mason. Mason didn't hesitate. He kissed her temple softly, so real, so warm, that her knees almost buckled, and said, "Couldn't keep my girl away from live music, could I?" Jordan blinked, stunned, and for a moment Olivia wondered if maybe this crazy plan might actually work. They sat together at a table, pretending to be a couple. But the strangest thing happened. Mason wasn't acting. He wasn't trying to make Jordan jealous. He was just being kind. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly protective in a way Olivia had never experienced. When she shivered, he draped his jacket around her shoulders. When she went quiet, he asked softly if she needed air. When her eyes filled with tears she fought to hide, he pretended not to notice until she was ready to talk. Later, outside beneath the strings of warm lodge lights, she finally breathed out the truth. "He left me 3 months ago for someone else. I thought I was over it. But seeing him tonight, I panicked." Mason's voice was steady, gentle. "Heartbreak makes fools of all of us. Doesn't mean you're weak." Olivia wiped her cheek, embarrassed. "I shouldn't have dragged you into this." He shook his head. "You didn't drag me, Olivia. I chose to help." Then he added, with a shy grin, "Besides, you looked like a woman worth rescuing." The night could have ended there. But something about Mason's kindness, something about the way he listened when she spoke, pulled her back to him again and again. When he offered her a ride home on his old pickup truck, she accepted. When he asked if she wanted to talk or just sit in silence, she chose silence, but somehow it felt like the best conversation she'd had in months. In the days that followed, Olivia found herself driving back to the little ranch outside town where Mason worked. At first she told herself she just wanted to thank him properly. Then she told herself she needed fresh air. But the truth was simple, being near Mason felt like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. He showed her how to saddle a horse, how to let go of fear, how to laugh again without checking who was watching. He made coffee too strong and jokes too soft. And every day, he surprised her with the kind of gestures no one had ever done for her, fixing her car door without asking, leaving wildflowers on her porch, teaching her how to slow her breathing when anxiety rose. One late afternoon, while they rode through a field painted gold with tall grass, Mason suddenly stopped his horse, looked at her with that quiet intensity, and asked, "Be honest with me, Olivia. Why did you really come back that second day?" Her heart stuttered. I don't know. I guess, because you made me feel safe. Mason swallowed hard. Safe is good. But I hope someday you come back because you want me, not just the safety. That night, Olivia lay awake thinking about his words. Mason had given her nothing but honesty and kindness, yet she had been holding back, afraid of falling for someone who could break her all over again. But Mason was not Jordan. Mason didn't play emotional games. Mason didn't need to pretend. Weeks passed, and the winter air grew sharper, but Olivia's heart finally began to thaw. One evening, after helping Mason close the barn, she turned to him with a trembling smile. You remember the night we met? When I asked you to pretend to love me? He chuckled. Hard to forget. You looked scared out of your mind. She stepped closer. Well, I'm not pretending anymore. Mason froze. His breath caught. His hat slipped in his hands. And for a moment, the whole world seemed to pause. Then, slowly, he reached out and cupped her face with hands that had known both hard work and gentle care. Olivia. I haven't been pretending either. The kiss they shared was nothing like the staged one in the lodge. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't a shield. It was two broken hearts choosing each other, choosing healing, choosing something real. Word spread quickly around town, how the millionaire heiress and the cowboy had fallen for each other. Some people gossiped. Others cheered. Olivia didn't care. For the first time in years, she was happy. And Mason. Mason loved her in a way that didn't demand perfection, only honesty. Months later, Olivia ran into her ex-fiancé again. But this time, she didn't freeze. She didn't crumble. She simply smiled, wished him well, and walked away with a peace she never expected to find. Because kindness had rewritten her story. Mason's kindness. Her own kindness toward herself. And the simple truth that love blooms best where gentleness lives. As the sun set behind the ranch one evening, Olivia whispered, I'm glad I asked you for help that night. Mason squeezed her hand. You didn't ask for help, darlin'. You asked for love. You just didn't know it yet. And sometimes, the miracle happens when someone is kind enough to give it. If this story touched your heart, remember this, kindness doesn't need grand gestures. It just needs courage. Courage to reach out. Courage to help. Courage to love again. Let your kindness rewrite someone's story today, because you never know, it might just rewrite your own.